Hello everybody, my name is Colin. Welcome back to another video. Today, in this one, it's going to be another ban list prediction video, and in this one's going to be my ban list prediction for the most likely September/October 2025 ban list. Now, this ban list has been taking a little bit to come out. A lot of people were expecting this to probably drop before Justice Hunters, but then they just pretty much came out and said that, like, no, there's not going to be a ban list until after Worlds. And even after Worlds, you know, a lot of people were expecting it to be dropped at Worlds, which is crazy to me because it's not just a TCG format. For Worlds, you also have like the OCG players there as well, so it didn't really make sense for them to really drop it at Worlds, in my opinion. But they didn't drop it at Worlds, and everyone is getting pissed right now because they're like, where the hell is this ban list? And to be honest with you, I'm like, who cares? Like, right now, the format's like in a really, really good position. Right now, we honestly don't need a ban list. Like, obviously, they're probably going to drop a ban list soon, probably at like YCS Lille, because the European team, like the EU team, hasn't had a chance to do the like ban list YCS kind of thing. So it'd be nice for them. So I would expect it to happen at Lille. I think that's like end of September. Or if anything, they'll probably do it at Anaheim at the beginning of October. Probably one of those two are probably good dates for the ban list, because they've been liking to do ban list at the YCS. In my opinion, is really good. I keep with that. I think that's a good way to do it. But if they're going to drop it anytime soon, they'll probably, you know, if they do it online like they used to do, it'll probably come out within a couple days. But I expect it to be dropped at a YCS. So yeah, like I said, I think honestly, this format is perfectly fine right now. I think there's really, if you're going to ban anything, just go after like problematic floodgate staple cards, in my opinion, is what we should do. And I will say this as well. I have done a ban list a ban list prediction in the past about this ban list. Now, the reason why I'm doing an updated list as well, that last ban list is kind of outdated because that was before Justice Hunters, and I was expecting it to drop before Justice Hunters, and obviously that didn't happen. And now with Justice Hunters release, I think we have to talk about different things for the ban list. Now, my philosophy is still they should be going after floodgate cards, to be honest with you. Again, the format's in a really good position right now. I really don't think you really need to hit any of the decks that are currently in the format right now. Like, maybe there are some exceptions, and once we get into it, you'll see those exceptions. But honestly, that's kind of my philosophy with this, is I think we should be going after floodgate cards, are just preventing people from playing the game, then going after certain decks, because honestly, the decks are perfectly fine right now. So I have a list on my phone that I do want to talk about all these cards that I want to talk about on my phone. So if I'm looking at my phone, that's what I'm doing. All right, so starting off with the unlimited list, because that's just the best way to do it. So we're going from unlimited to forbidden. So for the unlimited list, the easiest cards out of the universe, sorry, I forgot I need my keyboard for this, is Unchained Shavara to 3. This is currently at 2. So basically, these the unlimits I'm about to do right now are all cards that moved from 1 to 2 in the last ban list, and honestly are just going to move from 2 to 3 in this ban list. My God, I don't know how to type. It's because my mic's in the way. I forgot I have to use my keyboard for this, so let me move this more forward. So Dragon Collapse Serpent. Oh, it's right there. It's right there. White Dragon Wyvern Burster and Black Dragon Collapse Serpent are both going to go to unlimited as well. And then Snake Eyes, Ash, and Poplar, I think, also belong in, sorry, I have to delete that, unlimited. So these are my unlimited cards I think you should probably have for the next list. Let me make sure I'm not missing anything. I am not. We are good to go. So yeah, these are the unlimits. To be honest with you, I think this is the easiest things you can predict in this ban list, are the cards that move from 1 to 2. And the last list are just going to move from 2 to 3 in this list. I think Shavara is a nice like addition to Unchained, but I don't think it really changes that much. I think Unchained has been outclassed now, to be unfortunately has been outclassed, but I think Shavara to 3 is still good enough. I think this is perfectly fine. The White Dragon and Black Dragon Collapse Serpents, they're doing nothing at 2. They'll probably be fine at 3. Those are powerful extenders, but you do need your graveyard set up, so they're by technicality bricks in the hand. But, you know, they're still nice extenders. I think these are perfectly fine for today's modern game, so these are perfectly fine to go to 3. And then Ash and Pop, these are doing nothing at 2. They'll probably do nothing at 3, to be honest with you. Honestly, OSS was like the card that was carrying the fuck out of this deck. I still would like to see what Snake Eyes can do with these cards at 3. Like Poplar, you probably wouldn't play at 3 anyways, to be honest with you. But Ash, you definitely would play at 3, and I think this is perfectly fine to go to 3. Again, OSS is banned, so they can't use the Dia Bellstar package, so this is probably fine enough to just go to 3, and it probably would not cause any problems. So those are the easy ones to get out of the way of any ban list predictions, just to get rid of or move the cards that went from 2 to 3, pretty much. So that's going to be my unlimited for my ban list prediction. Now on to the semi-limited list, which in my case, Branded Fusion should go to 2, to be honest with you. Honestly, this is perfectly fine. Like, Branded, the only problem with Branded right now is, you know, if you're going to talk about Branded, the problem things it's doing is Albion the Sanctifier, and to be honest with you, that's the problem card. Fusion is perfectly fine to be legal in the game, in my opinion, even though it can do some degenerate stuff. I think Branded is kind of past its point now. And again, if you're going to hit something out of Branded, just hit Albion the Sanctifier, and honestly, everything in Branded is pretty much solved. So I think Branded Fusion going to 2 is pretty nice. It helps like certain Draco Tails list as well, because there are people playing the branded Draco Tail versions of these decks, which in my opinion, if you want to boost the Draco Tail a little bit more up, you can put Branded Fusion 2. But to be honest with you, I predicted this in my last ban list prediction. I think this is perfectly fine to go to 2. And the other one I think will probably go to 2 is True Draco Diagram. I think I've never played with this card. I don't think that's what it's called. Diagram. Not diagram. There we go. It's Dragonic Diagram. I see it right there. Sorry, I'm terrible at spelling shit. I'm not only terrible at English, I'm also terrible at typing shit out. So, Diagram probably goes to 2 as well. Like, it makes sense because the new True Draco support is coming out in Doom of Dimension, so just giving it a little bit more of a boost. They already put Masterpiece to 1, so this just makes sense to move to 2 as well, in my opinion. So those are the only semi-limits I'm going to do on this list as well. So again, more just the easy stuff of the semis and the unlimits that really probably won't change the game. Maybe you can argue that Branded Fusion might do something, but again, the Branded deck can already search this 20 million times. Giving it just another Branded Fusion probably isn't going to do that much. Anyways, now moving to the limited list. So, this might be a little bit of a controversial opinion. I know, I'm going to go with this. But, Malice, Ryzel, Mitsu, and Fiendsmith do not need to be hit whatsoever. We have shown that the Justice Hunter decks are good enough where they're probably knocking them down a peg anyway. So, in my opinion, why hit those decks in the first place? Like, Malice has completely fallen off, in my opinion. Like, sure, it still gets tops here and there. Same thing with Ryzel, same thing with Mitsu, same thing with Fiendsmith. Sure, they're getting tops here and there, but that's the reason why the format's so good right now and why it's so diverse, is because the Justice Hunter decks are kind of knocking them down a peg. Obviously, the Justice Hunter decks are doing a lot better. So, in my opinion, why the fuck would you ever want to hit Malice and Ryzel and stuff like that? Like, that's the reason why I had to, like, do another banlist prediction, because in my other banlist prediction, I predicted, like, Malice and Ryzel and shit like that was going to get hit. But now that Justice Hunters is out, honestly, for me, it doesn't really make any sense for those decks to get hit. Now, obviously, Konami can just go like, hey, look, we want people to buy these Justice Hunters decks, so we're going to hit the Malice and Ryzel decks. That's an argument you can make, and I'm perfectly fine with that. But in my opinion, the format is perfectly fine. I don't think you need to hit Malice, Ryzel, Mitsurugi, or Fiendsmith. That is just my opinion. Those aren't the problem decks. If you're going to hit a deck, you probably go after the Justice Hunter decks, which we'll talk about in 1 second here. But that is my opinion, and that's the way I'm going to be doing my banlist prediction, is Mitsu, Malice, you know, all those decks I just mentioned are perfectly fine. They do not need to get hit any way or shape or form. Just keep them how they are right now. You can keep I'm not saying to unlimit the cards they just semi-limited in the last list. Keep them at 2. That's perfectly fine with me. Just, I don't think you need to hit them. I really don't think you need to hit them. I'm perfectly fine with them staying in the format, to be honest with you. So I'm not going to go after those cards. That might be the hot take of this ban list prediction, is that they're not going to go after those decks, which I think is correct. And maybe a lot of people are pissed about the Fiendsmith. Again, Fiendsmith is fine. Like, honestly, I'm perfectly fine with Fiendsmith being legal. So now let's get into the actual limited list here. So, I'm going to start off with the cards that are probably going to be taking off the Forbidden and moving to Limited. So the first one is the obvious one. It is Summon Sorceress. This got the errata in the Battles of Legends, the Monster Mayhem, I think is what it was. Yeah, this got the errata. It's been banned since then, but that's because they haven't dropped a ban list since then. This is the obvious one that they're obviously going to take off from the Forbidden list to Limited here. So, oh my god, why is my computer lagging? Calm the fuck down. Okay. So yeah, I think this is the obvious. They're going to unhit this card for sure because it has the errata. Now they're going to move it to 3. Who knows? I'm going with the limit because they like a lot of the time like to move cards from forbidden to limited first before they put it to unlimited. Even though Summon Sorceress can probably go to 3 and perfectly be fine. Next thing up is Zodiac Trident. I think should probably come off as well. If we're gonna have what's his name? Detonator, that's his name. If we're going to have Detonator legal, Detonator is just a better Trident in my opinion. So I think Trident is perfectly fine to come off. So I think this is perfectly fine as long as Broad Bull stays banned. I think Zodiac shouldn't be that much of a problem. Anyways, Trident is perfectly fine to come off in my opinion. So that's it for that. Nightmare Goblin is, if I can spell it correctly, Nightmare Goblin is the next one. The OCG just limited this card. I think it's perfectly fine. If you actually read its effect here, it requires 2 monsters with different names. If the card's linked summon, you can discard a card to extra normal summon basically, and if it's co-linked you can draw a card as well. I think that's just too far past. I think, like, sure, getting an extra normal summon is nice, but I don't think it's worth wasting a link or going to a link to for as well. Its zones isn't the greatest either. I honestly think this is perfectly fine to be taken off the forbidden list. I think this is perfectly fine. The extra normal summon I don't think really matters that much anyways. And then the last card I have here is Heavy Metal Foes Electromite, because why the fuck isn't this off the list yet? So these are the 4 cards I'm going to go with that they're going to take off the forbidden and move to limited. Summon Sorceress obviously makes sense. I think Trident is past its prime at this point. Goblin, same thing. Electromite might be a little weird because, you know, this is a powerful card from Pendulum, but I don't think it would change the meta that much. Like, yes, people will start trying to play Pendulum, but, like, I'm fine with that. Like, I think this card should be fine. I think I understand why it's taking them so long to unhit it, because it is a generic Pendulum card. So if they ever release, like, a Pendulum archetype, obviously Electromite is the obvious candidate to be in that extra deck anyways. So it's a little weird. I can see why they don't want to unhit it, but I think it's fine. Just put it to 1. I don't think putting it to 1 is fine. Don't try to unlimit it or anything. I think putting it to 1 is perfectly fine. So those are going to be my unhits from the forbidden moving to limited. Now, talking about cards, I think we'll move from 3 to 1. The first one I will talk about here is Triple Tactics Thrust. Please put Thrust to 1. Oh my god. So Konami has been showing, at least in the TCG, has been showing that they're willing to hit cards that punish players for interacting going first, right? So they've hit Talents. They obviously Called By has been limited for the longest time, but they've just hit Talents and Cross Out in the last list. So I think Thrust is kind of the next obvious choice for them. They want to make sure your opponent can interact with you and you don't just punish them for doing so, right? So, like, Talents, obviously, at 3, if they ever hand trap you, you can just look at hand, get that fucker out of here, and they're just like, okay, let's put that to 1. Same thing with Cross Out. They're like, it's the same thing as Called By, like, oh, it just prevents a hand trap from activating. Yeah, let's put that to 1 as well. And Thrust is kind of the same situation, even though it's a lot worse than the other cards going first. This has pretty much become a card of, I'm going to set a floodgate that ends your turn and pass to you. That's kind of the thing with Thrust, and the reason why I don't like it. And the same thing with Talents. Even though I think Talents and Thrust are fair going second, I think going first, they're just not healthy for the game. Like, obviously, Talents being able to look at your hand for after they hand trap you, looking at the hand, ripping a card, and keep continuing to play is just annoying as fuck. Thrust being able to just like, oh, you hand trap me and you're playing Draco Tail, I'm gonna set D Barrier. Oh, you hand trap me and you set, or you're playing Yummy, I'm gonna set Black Goat Laughs. You know, like, it's a really, really dumb card that just makes it where they just set the floodgate of choice that they want to end your turn with, and they'll just pass to you, and there's nothing you can do about it because those floodgates are really dumb. Now, you might be arguing, well, just ban the floodgates. Here's the problem. There's way too many floodgates in the fucking game right now. There's just way too many to count that you're not going to ban everything at once. So I think the good thing is Thrust is setting all these cards. Why don't we just put Thrust to 1 to make sure that doesn't happen as often? I'm perfectly fine with Thrust going to 1. Again, they put Talents and Cross Out to 1 in the last list. I think this makes sense for this to go to 1 in this list as well. It's the same idea. It just punishes players for interacting even though they're going second. So, like, I think this is perfectly fine to go to 1, even though I think, again, like I've said, Thrust and Talents are fair cards going second. It's going first that they are problems that I do not like. So I think it should go to 1. Now for the hits. So the hits I will do, I am going to somehow hit the Justice Hunter deck. So I'm not going to outright hit them. I'm not going to hit any of the names or anything like that. I don't think that really makes sense for that to happen, especially since they are the newer decks on the block. I think they will get indirect hits, cards like that. Like, obviously, I'm going to talk about Yummy first. And I think the obvious one I'm going to talk about here is Obedience School. If I can spell Obedience School. There we go. Cool. Obedience School. This is like the obvious, like, this does not hit Yummy, but it also hits Yummy at the same time, right? Because this is just a very, very powerful card for Yummy, especially going second, trying to break through fields and stuff like that. So I think limiting this card just makes sense to try to not, you know, it hits Yummy, but it doesn't outright hit Yummy, because you're not hitting any of the names, you're not hitting any of the extra X stuff, you're just hitting Obedience School. That's an indirect hit, but it still hits Yummy some way. So that, I think that's the way you hit Yummy, is by limiting Obedience School. I think this is probably the like obvious choice, to be honest with you, especially since Marshmallow is coming out in Doom and Dimensions. Having Obedience School at 3 with Marshmallow, I think that just puts Yummy over the top, to be honest with you. So I think you should hit Obedience School as before Marshmallow comes out, and it makes it where it's still manageable. They still have an extender with Marshmallow, but you don't see the Obedience School as much as well. So I think this is fine. I think this is going to be your indirect hit to Yummy. Now for the K9. Now the K9 one is a little weird because K9 is more of an engine than it is a deck. Like, there's not really a way to hit K9 without like hitting the cards. There's no indirect hits because it's just an engine, and the indirect hits come like, you know, you probably have to hit some of the Crystron cards, hit like the Vanquish Soul cards for it to like indirectly hit the K9 stuff, right? So it's hard to indirectly hit K9, but I think they will hit Vanquish Soul somehow. This is the Worlds tax. Like, no matter who wins Worlds, the deck that wins Worlds always somehow gets hit in the next ban list. Look at the last year's list. Like, Worlds, Yugioh won, if I'm not mistaken, and then Opening got limited straight away, and then Phantom got limited later on, but Opening got hit straight away after that, the Worlds. And then the year before, it was Dragon Link, right? Chaos Space got limited, and then Magnemite got limited. So that was like the tax for the World's deck winning. You're somehow going to get hit on the next list. Now, since Vanquish Soul K9, I think it was Vanquish Soul K9 that won. I think, again, they're not going to go after K9 because the K9 are the newer cards on the block. So they're going to go after Vanquish Soul. I think the way you do it is by two things. You can either hit Stake Your Soul, or you can hit Raisin. Those are the two options you can do, in my opinion. So I think both options are fair. I like the Stake Your Soul hit more just because it is an extender while Raisin is a normal summon. So I like the Stake Your Soul hit a little bit more. Now you can argue Raisin might be the better one because it takes less fires out of the deck, so it's all more harder for them to play. But honestly, I like the Stake Your Soul hit. That's just me. Because I do like taking away extenders from the, at least putting less extenders in the Vanquish Soul deck. So I think Stake Your Soul going to 1 makes sense for me. But if you also want to argue for Raisin to be going to 1, I'm not against that either. I think you can only hit one or the other. I don't think you can hit both. But I think if you want to argue for either one works for me. But I'm honestly of the opinion of hitting Stake Your Soul to 1. It doesn't outright kill the Vanquish Soul deck, but it makes it where they have less extenders in the deck. So I think this is like the World's tack. Vanquish Soul won World, so they're somehow going to get hit on the list. So I think Stake Your Soul is the way to do it, and it's also an indirect hit to K9 because obviously K9 is really good with Vanquish Soul, and if you hit Vanquish Soul, it somewhat hits the K9 cards as well. Even though it doesn't outright hit K9 because obviously K9 is an engine deck, it does hit the best engine that goes with it, which is Vanquish Soul. Now, it doesn't hit Crystron, which is the other popular version of K9, but honestly, I don't think there's a point to go after Crystron. If you hit the Crystron cards as well, I don't like that either. So I think going just after Stake Your Soul is perfectly fine. Now, Draco Tail, I'll talk about in just 1 second. I won't have anything in the limited list for Draco Tail's indirect hit, but I will talk about it once we get to Forbidden. So that's what I have for my limited list. So you just take off a couple cards from the Forbidden list, move it to limited. You hit Thrust because I think Thrust is just a powerful card. I think, especially going first, being able to set a floodgate, it's just really dumb. Obedience School, just an indirect hit to Yummy, and then Stake Your Soul, an indirect hit to K9, but also hits Vanquish Soul as well. So that's what I'm going to go with my limited list. And now for the ban list. So honestly, just ban floodgates. Honestly, that's all you need to do. Just ban a certain amount of floodgates, and I think you're perfectly fine. The first one I'm going to start off with is probably the most obvious one, and that is Paradise Smasher. I think this should probably be banned. This is kind of another one of those, if I try to interact with you turn one, you're just going to punish me by making a Paradise Smasher. This is K9's way of doing that. So I guess this is another way you can just hit K9 is by banning the Paradise Smasher. Yeah, this just sucks because you want to hand trap like the K9 deck, but if you do, you run the risk of them just making a Paradise Smasher and then just rolling you out of the game, which is very, very fucking annoying. And I hate that. I don't think that should exist in the game. Even though it probably doesn't come up that much as you think it would come up, it does come up. And when it comes up, you just are just fucking pissed because you're like, oh, wow, I can't play the game. That's cool as fuck, right? So I think this card should be banned. It makes it where, you know, the K9 stuff can still do stuff, but now they just can't floodgate you out of the game. So I think this is perfectly fine for this card to be banned, to be honest with you. Fuck this card. Deserves to be banned. Fuck this card. All right. So that's the obvious one there. I'm sorry, my phone keeps turning off and I have to turn it back on. Next thing up is Featherstorm. Please get this card the fuck out of here. Please get this, just get this out of here. Obviously, Ryzel does this now. Like, obviously, Flunder was the big thing that did it. But now, like, Ryzel's doing it by just making a Castell and then setting this off of either Thrust if they get hand trap or if they hard draw it. So all the more reason to hit Thrust. I think this Floodgate should not exist, to be honest with you. Just put this on the fucking ban list, please. Like, please, please, for the love of God. I don't want more non-games, to be honest with you. Featherstorm is just an annoying card that makes it where you can't play the game. Please ban this fucking card, please. Next thing up is Dimensional Barrier as well. I think this should also be banned as well. But Dimensional Barrier, there we go. Cool. Another card that honestly shouldn't exist, to be honest with you. Now, its bad side is it can't hit links, but I still don't think it should exist, to be honest with you. Again, another one of those thrust targets. You might be questioning, if you want to hit all these floodgates, you still want to limit thrust? Yes, I do, because I'm hitting floodgates, but guess what? There's like 20 other floodgates I'm not hitting that thrust can still set and still be a problem, right? So I think this is fine just to stay at one. But yeah, hit D-Barrier, please. Please hit the fuck out of D-Barrier. D-Barrier should not exist. I've been arguing this for like years now that D-Barrier shouldn't exist. But yeah, I think this should leave the game right now. Same thing with Feather Duster. Like, these are just problematic trap cards that should be banned. And the problem with that is back row removal can't even deal with this because they'll just chain to the back row removal and you still have to deal with the floodgate, right? So that's my ban there. Next one up is fucking Protos. Why the fuck is this card still legal? Why do they even unban this fucking card? Get this card out of here, please. Get Protos the fuck out of here. Protos, now, to be fair, has seen less play since the Justice Hunter decks came out, but it still should not exist, in my opinion. Why the fuck does Protos exist? Especially with Banshee being legal. Now, I've seen a lot of people just like, oh, how about we just hit Banshee? No, just hit fucking Protos. Just hit the fuck out of Protos, please. Get that card out of here. Protos is just not a fair card. It's just another one of those floodgates that's like Paradise Smasher that they get to activate on their turn, so it makes it a lot harder to interact with, and the floodgate lasts until the end of your turn, which is fucking annoying as fuck. Get this card out of here. Get this fucking card out of here, please. I did not mean to click this fucking card. Get the fuck out of here. Sorry. As you can see with my bans, I'm going after a lot of floodgates here because I'm tired of fucking floodgates. I'm tired of them. I think that's what makes Yu-Gi-Oh bad and why Game 2s and Game 3s sometimes suck is they go, oh, I know you're on this deck now. Side in the floodgate that just completely outs it. I hate that so much. So just please get these cards out of here. And then the last card I have, which is going to be the indirect hit to Draco Tail, is Winda. Yeah, Winda is one of those other floodgates, kind of like the Paradise Smasher, even though it's a little bit more fair because you do get one special summon. It's a lot more interactable because, you know, it's not a floodgate that activates on your turn and then it keeps applying until the end of your opponent's turn. It's just a lingering floodgate, so it does die to things like Imperm, Droplet, anything away to negate this card. It does stop it. But if I'm indirectly hitting Yummy and I'm also indirectly hitting K9, I think I should be indirectly hitting Draco Tail as well, even though Draco Tail isn't the greatest right now. Like, a lot of people are hyping up the deck, but when you look at like tops, obviously Yummy and K9 are clearing the Draco Tail deck. I still think just banning Winda now is probably fine. Just make sure to get this floodgate out of here. I know my Shadal's fans will probably get pissed, but guess what? It's a floodgate that probably shouldn't exist anyways. And if I'm banning these floodgates, I probably should be banning Winda as well. And Draco Tail, the thing with Draco Tail, even though they lose out on Winda, the deck is very much still playable. I'm not hitting any like engine pieces or anything like that compared to like Yummy with Obedience School or something like that. So even though, yes, Draco Tail is a little bit weaker, you're just banning an extra card that floodgates you out of the game. Dracotel is perfectly fine. They can still pretty much play with anything else that they want to as well. So I think this is going to be my indirect hit to Dracotel, is just ban Winda, the floodgate that makes Shaddoll's good. So just please get this card out of the game as well. So as you can see, my ban is just all just floodgates that probably shouldn't exist. My limits are cards that they're going to take off the forbidden list, and then just a couple like consistency hits like Stake Your Soul and Obedient School, and then Thrust, because you know, it punishes people for interacting even though you're going first, which is annoying as fuck. So I think Thrust should be limited as well. The semi-limits of Branded Fusion and Dragonic Diagram, I think these are probably fine. And then the unlimits of Shavara, White Dragon, Black Dragon, Poplar, and Ash moving from 2 to 3 also makes sense. Now, that's going to be it for my predictions there. Now, I do have a couple of honorable mentions I want to talk about as well. So that's going to be it for my predictions, but I do have some honorable mentions. The first one is Droll. Oh my god, I can't spell today. Droll and Lockbird. So, oh, I did not mean to click the card. So, Droll and Lockbird. I think it's fine, to be honest with you. I know a lot of people were bitching, especially in the last format about it. In my last ban list prediction, I put it to ban, but that's because if you go back and watch it, the reason why I put it in ban is because my philosophy was let's ban the floodgates, and by technicality this is a floodgate card. But if you go back and watch it, I was very hesitant doing so because I think Droll should be legal, to be honest with you. It's a card that you can play around because it can't activate in the draw phase, so you can do your searching and draw phase. It's a card that you do get the one search first compared to like these floodgates, right? Where I guess with the exception of Window, but these floodgates, right? You just can't do anything. At least with Droll and Lockbird, you do get the one search first. Then you get Droll, which sometimes is all you need, is just the one search, and you're perfectly fine. And obviously, a lot of people want this to be banned, but also it's one of those things that it does take them a while for them to hit like hand trap cards as well. Look at Shifter. Look how long it took for them to fucking hit that card, right? People were complaining about that card for like 2 years plus, and they just hit Shifter, right? So I don't really think Droll needs to be banned. I also think it's fine. I honestly think it's fine. The Justice Hunter decks don't really care, and I understand the people's complaint, even though the Justice Hunter decks don't care, you should probably still hit this because it does hit the Roger decks, right? But I still think it's just one of those cards that should be. It's one of those like I don't know. I forgot the term for it. It's like I forgot the term for it. It's one of those cards that even though it is like it's a really like problem card, I think should still exist in my opinion. I think Droll should be in existence as well. Same thing with the Charmies. Alright, sorry, I have to say Mole Charmy. Sorry, that's how you have to do it. So the Charmy cards. I think Fua is really the only problematic Charmy, to be honest with you. I think the other two, even though like they're more deck specific Charmy cards. Like if they're on a specific deck, you can hit them. But Fua is like against any deck, it can do kind of good. Like this, again, it's one of those things. Like it does take them a while to hit hand traps. They're getting reprinted in the tins as well. Like I honestly don't think these are going to get banned, even though I would love them to somehow get hit. They're not, I don't think they're going to hit these cards whatsoever. So yeah, same thing with Droll. It takes them a while to hit hand traps in the first place, and I honestly don't see them hitting those cards either. The floodgates of Rivalry, Gozen, and Tikaboo. So I can't pull up all of them, unfortunately. Rivalry. There we go. I can't pull up all of them, unfortunately, but I'm talking about Rivalry, Gozen, and Tikaboo. So these are the floodgates that, like, even going second, you can side in, because depending on the deck, if you just flip it up, you can still win the game, right? So even though I am on the philosophy of, like, hitting the floodgates, I don't see them hitting these floodgates, because they're already at 1. So, like, their argument could be like, oh, they're already at 1, there's no point to ban them, right? They're also a lot more play-aroundable, or not play-aroundable, but a lot more interactable compared to these floodgates, right? Because you just need to activate these cards, and you just win the game. While this one, they have to stay on field for them to interact. So, like, Feather Duster, Lightning Storm, Cosmics, any, like, back row removal still deal with these cards, unlike with these floodgate cards. So, even though, honestly, they probably shouldn't exist, I'm going to put it of Konami's not going to hit these cards, so I'm just going to keep them at 1 for now. And then other, like, floodgates like DDG, different dimension grounds, I think is what it's called. Different dimension. Oh, fuck, there's so many fucking cards that are like this. Oh my god, can I just find it here? Yes, right here. Different dimension ground. It's kind of the same philosophy as like D-Barrier and Featherstorm. Like it's a floodgate that once you activate, they just have to play through the floodgate. But for hitting thrust, to be honest with you, I'm perfectly fine with this being legal. I think D-Barrier and Featherstorm are the ones you should get out straight away. Again, they can't hit every single floodgate in one go. So like I think there's going to be a couple they're going to keep legal. And I think Different Dimension Grounds is one of those cards, right? And obviously with the thrust being limited, it could become a lot worse as well. And then the last one is Mistaken Arrest as well. It's kind of the same thing as Droll and Lockbird. I think it's better. Did I just Sorry, I am fucking terrible. Mistaken Arrest. Sorry, I'm terrible at spelling as well. So I think this also, like, I honestly, in my opinion, think it should be banned, but like, it's also, they're probably not going to hit it. It's kind of the same thing with Droll, where like you can make an argument this card should be banned, but they're just not going to because Konami is weird like that. So even though I think this should leave the game, they're probably not going to do it, in my opinion. Because again, they're not going to ban every single floodgate in one go. Konami just doesn't do that. They're going to wait for the floodgates that are popular in that format, hit those floodgates, and then whatever pops up in the next format, they'll just hit in the next ban list, right? So those are the honorable mentions I want to talk about. There's probably other cards you can talk about. Again, like I said, Malice, Mitsurugi, Ryziel, and Fiendsmith. You could probably make an argument if you wanted to get hit somehow. In my opinion, I don't think you should be hitting those decks because those decks aren't as popular as they used to be. Obviously, it's the Justice Hunter decks, and I'm indirectly hitting the Justice Hunter decks with the Obedience School limit, the Stake Your Soul limit, and the Winda limit as well. So I think that's fine. I don't think you really need to hit that. Again, the format's in a really good place right now. I really do like the format and where it's at. I think, in my opinion, you just have to go after these floodgate cards that are causing problems, like Paradise Smasher and D-Barrier and Featherstorm. Protos isn't playing that much, but I think you should get rid of it anyways, and Winda as well. Like these floodgates that just prevent your opponents from playing the game, to be honest with you. I think those you should just leave the format right now. But that is going to be my ban list prediction. Sorry, I kind of went rambling there for a little bit. I hope you guys did enjoy the video. If you did, leave a like, subscribe for more content on the channel, and I hope to see you guys in the next one. Goodbye.